Cross, multiply, divide. Cross, multiply, divide. Cross, multiply, divide. All right, guys, this is going to be a very quick Mr. Paul. Well, it's probably going to be about 20 minutes, but this is going to be a Mr. Paul video on how to think through any percent equivalent ratio problem that you'll come across with a simple system. I'm going to teach you a different way than most textbooks and most sites will teach you because I want you to be able to think through the problems in a different way that enables you the ability to actually solve these problems without needing to memorize certain things. So the very first thing that I want to talk about is this: cross multiply, whoosh, divide. It's a cool dance if you can do it. My guy's not so good at it. Cross multiply, divide. Anyway, we'll just put him up in the corner for now. So the big thing is that you're going to be setting up ratios. This whole system is based on ratios or fractions or equivalencies. Now, you'll notice here that I have an X. This is algebra. Okay, so this whole thing about cross, multiply, and divide is rooted in basic algebra. I have a fraction on one side, which is just a number divided by another number. Over here, X is my unknown, and it has something attached to it, the other part of the ratio. Now, if you see this, how is that C attached to the X? What does this line mean? It means division. So in algebra, how I get rid of things. Number one, I use the opposite operation. So if I want to get rid of a divide by C, I need to multiply by C. What I do to one side, I have to do to the other. C divided by C, any number divided by itself is going to give me 1. Essentially, those cancel out. So over here, you'll notice that my net result, X, now equals C times A divided by B. So that's the proof to it. This is what I showed you in class. The big thing I want you to see now is that there's a shortcut to it. C times A divided by B. Do you see how C and A are across? Now these would be numbers in what we're doing. But the big thing here is that anytime I have two numbers across an equal sign in ratios, and I have an unknown, I'm going to cross multiply, and then I'm going to divide by the third number. Cross multiply, cross meaning I'm going across the equal sign. Notice how it's on a diagonal. Then I'm going to divide by the third number. Now, where else does this come into play? This is why I need to show you this, because some of you are going to see this today. And this is going to throw you off, because my X is on the bottom. Algebraically, this is more of a grade 8, 9 thing to solve. So I'm not expecting my grade 6s or 7s to do it. I can show you the proof on this another time, algebraically. But the thing you need to know is that how many knowns do I have? I got 1, 2, 3. These are all numbers. I only have one unknown. Cross, multiply, divide. Which two numbers are across? Well, A is across from X. X is an unknown. I can't do that. I'm going to cross multiply and then divide by the third number. You're going to see this a lot today. So no matter where your unknown is, you are always going to multiply the numbers that are across from each other on the equal sign, divide by the third number. Oh, that's out of order. Couple of quick basics as a review. Percentages. Percentages are a system so humans can actually communicate in ways that make sense to each other. Our brains they really struggle with complex numbers like 125th, 323rd. That means nothing to us. But if I said, hey, it's about 52%, your brain knows that, hey, that's a little more than half. The human brain likes whole, half, almost whole, almost nothing. So when we look at this is 100. If I say that we are going to fill in 10%, remember percent means out of 100. That little symbol, if we take the numbers out, I get 100. There's the 1 and the 2 zeros. You'll also notice that I have 2 dots separated by a line. Well, that's also a representation of division or a fraction. So percent literally means a number out of 100. So let's say I have something that's 1/4. Right? What would that be equivalent to out of 100? Well, this is just fractions. If I multiply that by 25 and I multiply this by 25, that's how 4 becomes 100. 4 times 25 gives me 100. What I do to the top, I do to the bottom. Gives me 25 out of 100, or 25%. This is a representation of this in an easier to manage way. Let's go back to this. So if I take out 10 out of 100 on that side, what am I left with? How many squares are white now? I get 90 out of 100. This concept, can you find out if I take this many out, how much is left? Super important when we get to dealing with tax and discounts. So a couple of terms. Number one, discount. A discount, if you have something that's 25% off, okay, 25% off, that's like taking 25. So this is how much of the whole I would save. So if the price was $100, I would save $25, but what would I pay? Right? If it's 25% off, the sale price is going to be 75%. See how these two have to equal 100? Awesome. Now, tax is a completely different scenario. So when I'm dealing with tax, I'm actually adding on to the original price. So in this scenario, 100 would be the entire grid. That's going to represent 100% of the cost. If I have to add 5% to the total, well, what's the total percent I'm going to have? I'm going to end up having 105%. Because I'm paying 100% of the cost, then we're adding more tax on. Right? So this would be 105. Everything including those squares. The original price. The original price is the ticket price. So if you go to buy a pair of jeans that are $20, that's cheap jeans, by the way, $20 would be the original price. The sale price is if we take 10% off of those jeans. I know that's $2. Don't worry if you don't. So 10% of $20 is $2. So the original price would be $20. The discount was 10%. The sale price would now be $18. Okay, in this case, I'm not going to add tax on, so that would also be my final price. Normally though, we have tax to add on top. So the sale price would be my new price. My final price, I would have to add 5% or 105% of the cost to give me my final price. All right? Really quick, tax paid. Let's say I have a $100 pair of jeans and I have to pay 5% tax. So 5%, well, 5% of 100 is 5. The tax paid would be $5. The final price I would pay is $105. Okay, so the 105 is the total plus tax. Okay, so that's the really quick setup. I'm going to go through this, then I'm going to shoot another video that's actually going to do some examples. There are two main types of ratios you are going to be setting up. Now the beautiful thing about this is that there are only two different scenarios, no matter what the problem is, until you get into more complicated things with interest and kind of mortgage calculations. So the big thing is that the main one that I'm going to show you how to use is dealing with the price paid. So the new price over the original price. That's one of our ratios. The other one is the percent that you are paying over 100. This is the percent. So how does this work? Over here, my discount is 10%. Am I paying the 10% or am I saving the 10%? That 10% is only what I'm saving. I am paying the 90%. So over here, which one would you put on this ratio? My new price, is it 10% or 90%? It's 90%. So that new price is the same as 90% of, now this is where it's brilliant, right here, of 100. 100 is my original price. Remember, the original price is the price before discount. If you can line up the original price with the 100 and the new price with the price paid, you can solve 80% of the problems just with that. Now some of you are saying, but what if it asks what the sale or the discount is? Well, then we have a slightly different scenario. If we want to find out how much money was saved on an item, so for example, you know that you paid, let's say $90. You paid $90 for a pair of jeans after a 20% discount. Right here, I actually know what my price was that I paid, and I know what the discount is. But what we're trying to find out is how much I saved. So in this situation, we need to use this one. We're going to put in the percent that we've saved and our discount. So we're not trying to find out how much we paid because we already know that. Right? We're trying to find out how much money we saved. This one's a little more complicated. This is actually the typical way it's taught. The difference is that if you calculate, again, let's do our $100 pair of jeans, I have to add 5% tax. If I put 5% over here, okay, it's going to give me $5. Right? So $5 is what I have to add on. Is this the actual price I've paid? Or is this how much I add? That's how much I add on. This is the percentage of tax. So in this case, I would take my total, which is $100, and I would have to add that to the total. It's actually more accurate to take 105%, because this is going to calculate the price you actually end up paying. It's one step, not two. And in many cases, I like the way that's simpler. You can make that decision though. All right, changed my mind. I'm actually just going to push right onto the example, see if I can do this in one video. So remember, cross, multiply, divide, we have two different ratios. This is what your homework's going to look like. You're going to have a lot of these to do, and do them until you are confident. Okay? First one. This is the most basic kind. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to show you which kind of a ratio I'm setting up each time. So you'll see at the top, I have original price, discount, tax, and final price. What I like to do right off the bat is actually go through. If I have a 15% discount, that means I am actually paying 85% of the total cost. So that's something I do because it makes my life a little easier the way I do it. You do it how you want though. So my original price is 150. We're just going to start to set up our ratios. What am I looking for? I'm looking for the final price. So the final price is going to be a discounted price. Okay, do I know the final price? No, so I'm just going to put original. This is my new price. So what I'm putting up here is an X. I don't know what it is yet. Now, I'm looking for the final price paid. So am I going to calculate the discount, or am I going to calculate how much of the total I'm paying? I hope you said total. Now here's the beautiful thing. That 100, this little thing right here, whee, that is always going to be in your ratios. Always. Always. 100% of the time when we're dealing with percentages and discount. So the only two numbers I need to find are these. Okay, so here we go. What do I do? We're going to do the shortcut because I taught it to you. So we are going to cross multiply. What two numbers are across from each other? Right there. That's going to be my multiply. Then I am going to divide by 100. Trusty calculator. It's probably not going to zoom in on there, but that's all right. So I go 150 times 85 equals divided by 100 gives me 127.5. X equals 127.5. There's my answer. Does that make sense? It should be less than my original price, $0.5. And because it's cents, we go like that. And remember guys, when you are dividing by 100, all you're doing, so my answer was this. When I divide by 100, all I'm doing is moving two place values. Right? So that part you can do kind of in your head if you want. Next scenario. My original price is $210. Well, what am I looking for? I'm looking for the discount in this one. Okay? I don't know the discount. My original price, remember original goes on the bottom, because that has to line up with 100% of the cost. My original is on the bottom, my new is going to be on top. So 210 is my original. What do I do not know my discount. I do not know what that discount is. So I'm going to put a big X there. That's the percentage out of 100. I know my final price is 150. That's $150. So I'm looking for the discount. Now, hopefully some of you pick this up. This is going to be a little tricky. What do? Say it with me. Cross multiply, divide. Cross multiply, divide. So this time, my numbers are different. I'm going to go 150 times 100 equals that. And I'm going to divide by 210. So this is telling me that X equals 71.4, round to the hundredths, 43%. Okay, now, what does that actually tell me? This tells me that that price is this much of the original price. So is this the discount, or is this the price, the percentage that I paid for the item? That's the percentage I paid for the item. Okay, so now what we need to do is we need to take 100 and minus 71.43. Why? Because I want to know what the discount was that I received. The answer comes out to 28.57%. That's how much I saved. So remember, this is the new percentage that I paid, 71. So how much did I save? What was the discount? This is the opposite of before. If I know I paid 90%, then how much did I save? 10%. Keep coming back to this 90-10. That's the basic system that allow you to work things through. All right. Next. We got two more to do, and then I'm going to let you loose. Do the ones you understand, okay? So in this one, what do I know? I'm trying to find out the original price. So here's my new and my original. I don't know my original, we're going to put an X. I know my final price that I paid was $146. I know my discount that I received was 20. So how much did I pay? I paid 80%. So that's going to be 80 over 100. Cross multiply, divide. 146 times 100 equals divided by 80 gives me not the right answer. Hold on. Did something wrong. Oh no, that was right. Do you know why I said that wasn't right? The number was bigger than my number. So this actually comes out, X is going to equal $182.5. Now let's see if that makes sense. This number should be bigger than that number because this represents 80% of the total. So in this one, my total is $182.50. My new over the original. I didn't know the original, but now I can find out. Okay, last one. This is the long, tricky one. Now, if this stops recording, I will redo it. And right now I need a piece of paper. Okay, there's lots in here. So I've got an original price, I've got a discount, I've got tax, and I'm asked to find the final price. So, little change. We have to do two steps in this one because I have two different percentages. This is the percentage that I'm saving, so I am going to be paying 85%. So my original price is 324. My percentage is 85. I don't know X. Cross multiply, divide. 324. By the way, if this is too fast for you, you need to pause and see what you can figure out. So I get $275.4. $275.4. This is now my sale price. Okay, so before I can add my tax, this is my new original. So now we do the second. So this one calculates my discount, always first. Next, we're going to calculate the tax. So now, the price that I want to pay, I don't know. It's my final price, my new price. My original now is the sale price, which is $275.4. So this is going to equal a percentage. My sales tax is 5%. If you wanted to calculate how much the tax was, I would put 5 in here. But I don't. I want to calculate the final price. I don't want to waste time. So the final price is this, which is 100% plus 5%, so 105%. Remember, tax is going to make it get bigger, not smaller. So I'm going to go cross multiply and divide. 275.4 times 105 divided by 100. The answer I get is X equals 289.17. 289.17. Because I multiplied 274 by 150, then divide by 100. Okay? There's 2 more layers of complexity. Do the ones you understand and do your best. Okay, 20-minute video. We'll be going over this again next week. And please send me your questions. Good luck. Oh, and the other thing is that if you know how to do it with decimals, because this really is just 0.85, okay, 85 hundredths, you can do it that way as well. Then all you have to do is multiply. Where it gets confusing is when you have stuff like this with the X on the bottom. So that's why I prefer people to set up the ratios. Other than that, have a wonderful week and cross multiply, divide.